My name's Christina and you're watching Proud Book Lion, and today I'm going to do my wrap-up part 9 because since last we spoke I read 15 books, which is a shock to me as well. But there's a thing called the Biannual Bibliothon and the Booktubeathon, so I didn't plan on reading all of that, but it happened and I'm still kind of proud of it. But in order to save you from watching 45 minutes that you still wouldn't watch because you would be able to handle up until now, I'm going to cut them into 2 wrap-ups. So today I'm going to do a wrap-up of 8 books. So 2 books that I read previous to the week of the Biannual Bibliothon, where I read 6 books. So yeah, let's begin. And as you might have imagined, I won't go that far into every book. I am so bad at telling you what books are about, so it's just better if you Google it or something. I'm just gonna start talking about the books, okay? First up, I read Syd of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare, and I of course gave it 5 stars. I read this because Emma has her readathon. If you haven't joined Dreg Society on Facebook, you should absolutely do that. And I actually was one of the members from the Dreg Society that helped Emma host her live show for Syd of Lost Souls, and we had a lovely discussion and it was so much fun. And yeah, I just love the community and I love reading Cassandra Clare's books, and I love discussing with all of the people that are in the group and all of the people on YouTube and on Twitter, and just reliving and re-experiencing the same books and just all the feelings. And it's just so amazing, and I really had so much fun at the live show, and I definitely think you should watch it. So I'll leave the link down below. Absolutely love Cassandra Clare, and we're all gonna die when Queen of Air and Darkness comes. Plus times. After that, I read Coptown by Karen Slaughter. This is a thriller mystery, kind of. I would say a thriller. And it actually takes place in Atlanta during the 70s. And we get to follow a female cop and her brother. And it's a lot of racism, a lot of homophobia. And it's just very southern in the 70s. So it's not easy for women to be cops overall, but it was just something, this book, and I really loved it. I almost read half of it or more during one night because I worked one night shift, which isn't something to recommend. You ruin your sleeping schedule. I thought staying up to 4 a.m. was bad, but working from 9 to 7, it fucks you up. I'm sorry, but it really does. And I work at a retirement home, so during that night I was sitting at an old lady's room just making sure that she breathes, so I was able to do other things because it doesn't really require me to do a lot of things. So I just read a lot of this book, which was kind of scary because it's a thriller, and people are getting shot and they die in this book. So my coworker was like, wow, are you able to read that? People say that this house is haunted and you're sitting and reading that. People have left after their first shift, after a couple of hours. And I'm just ha, fun. But yeah, I really love this book. I think I gave it 4 or 5 stars. And if you do like thrillers and mysteries, you should definitely pick it up. It's not my favorite Karen Slaughter book because I prefer The Good Daughter, but it's definitely a really great book. Okay, so let's begin the Biannual Bibliothon wrap-up. So first up, I read The Bells by Daniel Clayton, and this book features a black main character, so it was for the challenge of reading an own voices book that is different from yourself, and I am Caucasian or white, so I'm definitely not black, and I love reading about characters that are different from myself because I think it's so healthy to gain new perspectives. And even if this is in a fantasy setting, I really loved it, and I think Daniel Clayton is an awesome writer, and it was just a really cool world where people lack beauty, so they pay these bells in order to keep their beauty and in order to beautify themselves. I think it has a lot of themes that you perhaps don't think at first, because when I went into it only knowing the synopsis, it almost seemed superficial, but when I reflect on the book, it's not superficial at all. So, pleasantly surprised by this. I think I gave it 4 or 5 stars. Up next, I read There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins, and this actually wasn't for one of the challenges. It was supposed to be for the book that you last bought, because I borrowed this from my library, but I ended up actually getting the books that I ordered, praise bless, so it didn't really fulfill any of the challenges, but it's a really cool almost slasher YA, I'd say so, because like people are getting murdered and we get to see the murders, and it's like very slashery. If you watched horror movies, you know what a slasher movie is. So yeah, I was surprised because I didn't really know if it was a slasher or if it was more of a mystery thriller, but it was definitely a slasher, and I personally love horror movies, and this was like in the right format, and I really loved the main character and I loved her backstory, and it was just really fun. Like, sure, a lot of people or characters aren't that deep and they don't have the backstory that our main character has, but like, it's a fun book and I really enjoyed my time reading it, so I think I gave it like 5 out of 5 stars just because I had such a great time reading it. This is in Swedish and called Uppror pågår, which basically means like uprising is still happening, or like a riot that is going on. This book is one that I read after reading chapters of 3 different books. All of the 3 books were Swedish, and this is the book that I chose. So it fulfills that challenge. It's about feminism in Sweden, and it's throughout, I believe, almost 4 generations. So they interview these young women, like from the age of like 15 to these older women, like 90, 85, and their views on feminism, if they would identify themselves as feminists. And it's just like a super short, super interesting read, and I actually really enjoyed myself reading it. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because I didn't think there was like any new information really, but it was kind of a refreshing read, and I do really love reading about feminism. Up next I have The Wicked Deep by She Earnshaw, and this was the group book, so it fulfills that challenge. It also fulfills the challenge of reading the last book you bought, because this was one of the books that I had ordered. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. A lot of people have said the same things that I have. The atmosphere is lovely. I love the characters when we see the flashbacks from their previous lives, the Swan sisters, but I really didn't care for the characters that we were following. I didn't really care for the present. Yeah. I don't really have strong opinions of it. It was like a meh book, and that's it. And then I read Challenger Deep by Neil Schusterman, and this doesn't really fulfill a challenge either. It was just a really cool but sometimes frustrating read. I didn't really like the format. I understand the format and I appreciate what it's showing me, but I thought it was too annoying to keep the boat and real life separate. I would have preferred it to just be real life, but I also understand why it's incorporated and why it's split up like this. But yeah, it was an okay read, I'd say. I give it 3.5 4 out of 5 stars. And then for reading a book that has been on your TBR for over a year, I finally read Zenith by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings, because I added this on Goodreads like 2016 and it's 2018 now, and I kind of like feel bad for not having read it, but I finally read it this Bibliothon, and like, this is not a good size of a book to read during a readathon. Like this, you're supposed to avoid books like these. Like, they are long. But I actually read it during a day, or like 1.5 days. So like, it went super fast, like, for me personally. And I know there's been mixed opinions about Zenith. Like, some people have loved it, some people have thought it was meh, some people have really not liked it at all. And for somebody who doesn't like sci-fi, I actually really like this. I can see several people's point of view and all of people's opinions are valid, but I personally really enjoyed it and I didn't go in expecting to enjoy it. So for me it was a really pleasant surprise, and I'm really proud of both these girls for writing this book, because like, it's a book and sometimes I was annoyed with the pacing. You could have removed a couple pages. That would just have helped my readathon a tiny bit. But overall, I was really happily surprised by this book, and it's a really cool sci-fi book about these awesome girls that are their own space crew and they have an own spacecraft. That's basically it. Like, there's a lot of different histories a lot of different characters, a lot of backstories, a lot of new worlds and things to learn. But overall, I really enjoyed my time reading this, and I think I gave it 4 or 5 stars, 3.5 to 5 stars. I was just really happy with it. And lastly, I read Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson, and I had actually heard some pretty great things about this book. So I went in having this as my predicted 5-star read, and it was also a book that I stole from somebody else's TBR, which is Miss Sassy Cassie's TBR, and I didn't give it 5 out of 5 stars, I gave it like 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed my time reading it. I really liked that the main character is a black Wiccan main character, because I only knew that she was Wiccan, I didn't know that she was black. I really liked the main character, but like, I had a hard time finding myself intrigued by the magic. I had a hard time liking the other characters. I had a hard time connecting to the story. But like, I enjoyed myself when I read it, but I don't remember it. I never shared like a connection with any of the characters. It was a meh read. I had a lot of meh reads lately, and it's blowing a lot. But yeah, I'm still happy that I read it because it filled all of my challenges. So I completed the Biannual Bibliothon at least. So yeah, those were the 8 books that I read from last time, filming a wrap up to the end of the Biannual Bibliothon. I actually completed 6 books during the Biannual Bibliothon, which like is pretty impressive considering the fact that I had work like almost half of the week, I think 4 days out of the week, and I also stayed at my summer house where like we have people that visits, and like I'm supposed to socialize with people. Like, what even is that? I'm still really happy with the number of books that I read and completed, and even if most of them were meh, I'm still really happy with the experience. And I just love the Biannual Bibliothon, and I love the reading sprints, and it just, I really like it, okay? It's one of my favorite weeks during the year. So yeah, if you read any of these, or if you participated, I would love to know, and I would love to check your challenges out. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to me, and I hope you have a great day, /night, /whatever part is for you.